Hi everybody, this is Liam Martin from Running Remote and Time Doctor, and in this module, which I believe is module number 6, we're going to be talking about how to hire remotely. If this emergency ends up being not just weeks, but ends up being months, or more excitingly, if you end up really liking remote work, you're going to have to figure out how to actually hire people remotely. And that is a little bit of a different process from hiring in person employees. So we're going to be going through a quick little checklist on how to be able to do that. And then also too, we're going to be talking about the legal implications of hiring remotely versus hiring on premise, basically inside of an office. So generally inside of remote first companies, you have, or any company actually for that matter, you have contractors and you have employees. And generally in remote first companies, because we're so distributed, we're personally in 35 countries all over the world, we have a lot more contractors than we have employees because we are a US corporation. But are we going to set up a corporation or subsidiary in Nigeria? Heck no. We have 3 people in Nigeria. Tope, what's up? But he is a contractor. He's very happy being a contractor because he actually gets quite a bit more on his salary and he manages his own taxes. So we don't basically report taxes to the Nigerian government, and he has his own equipment. He chooses his own work hours, which is generally the definition of a contractor versus an employee. So a contractor, very clearly, and again, I'm not an accountant or lawyer, please refer to one. This is not legal advice by any stretch of the imagination, but a contractor by the IRS definition. Generally, the definition of a contractor by the IRS is someone that has their own equipment, can choose their own work hours, and is basically answerable to themselves for accomplishing the tasks. So obviously you ask for the work being done, but they choose how they want to accomplish it. And if you've met all those requirements, generally you are a contractor. If you are an employee, however, you need to be able to really take into consideration. And again, for this type of an emergency situation, I think most people will not be moving to other countries. But let's say, as an example, some of your employees have been stuck in other countries because the airports have shut down and we can't fly some of your employees back to where they are supposed to be. You might have employees in Spain or in Germany or in Japan, as an example. Well, if they're working for extended amounts of time, it's really important to be able to make sure that you clearly define their working agreement and where they're working out of. So generally, if you have people that move around a lot, it's legally difficult in order to actually deploy efficient work agreements. I actually do have a video specifically with Tara, who's from Remote Law Canada, and she can definitely refer you to some more interesting statistics specifically on how to be able to do that. But fundamentally, before you actually start the remote hiring process, it's important to be able to make sure that you've done all of those pieces, that you've basically know how to be able to hire people legally. Tara in that video can really help you out with that. Now, I'm going to be going through another video now to be able to show you how we go and do our job searches from beginning to end. I'm going to be talking to Lorraine, who's our director of HR, and showing you what we use. We use a tool called Breezy, a couple other tools as well. But this will give you a general overview of exactly how to hire remotely and how to be able to deploy this inside of your business efficiently. Hi everybody, this is Liam Martin and we are inside my computer. That's why my camera looks so weird. It is not the one that I'm usually on, but I am on my iPad, which hopefully you can see on the screen right now. And we're going to be going through a couple things, just the theoretical framework of how remote job posting and kind of HR process in a remote manner is different from in-person or on-prem job postings, and just kind of how the process works. So I'm going to go through this right now. Basically, you've got 3 separate processes that are going on inside of remote teams. You've got your candidate pool, you've got your position. I'm going to make that a little bit of a circle because I think that's cool. And then you've actually got the hired person. So we usually are always working on making sure that we have a candidate pool that's really up to date. So as an example, I'm going to be showing you a customer success rep posting that we've been doing, and I'm going to bring you through the software that we use and how we actually basically filter out those applicants. But we always start with a pool. So usually what we'll do is we go to time-doctor.breezy.hr, put up a posting, and then from there we're going to post on a ton of different job posting sites. So we'll post on stuff like Flex Jobs, Solid Gigs, Remotive.io, AngelList, We Work Remotely, Skip the Drive, Working Nomads, Remote.co, Jobspresso, Remote OK, Virtual Vacations, Cloud Peeps, Outsourcely, Work Crew, a whole bunch of different job posting sites. If you guys would like the actual list, I can forward that to you. So we have that inside of our pool. So we'll take a job posting on time-doctor.breezy.hr, and then we'll literally promote that job posting on as many different job sites as humanly possible. Now, take into consideration, we really want job posting websites that are for remote candidates. So usually, we'll post on AngelList, we'll post on other websites, maybe even LinkedIn, but usually for us, we get a lot more success from job posting sites that are already looking for remote candidates. And usually on that pool, we're looking for between 300 and 500 candidates for that particular pool. Then from there, when we actually are ready to start working on that position, we take those candidates, and usually we have someone from HR or recruitment go through those 300 to 500 candidates, and we'll end up with approximately 100 candidates that we're going to then forward along to the pool, to the actual position. I'm going to put a little there, position. So the position is then when the actual next step of this process takes place. From there, we're going to go through a very long filtering process, which I'm actually going to show you in just a minute here on my computer. But basically, we're doing a ton of different interviews. It's pretty much the same process that you would have for any other type of position. But inside of that, we're like figuring out, is their internet good? Meaning, is it higher than 5 down and 5 up megabits per second, as an example. If it's below that, you can't actually do a Zoom call or a Skype call properly. So all of those little things that we're looking for, do they have a quiet place to work inside of their home? Are they a digital nomad? Do they want to travel the world? Like we ask a bunch of those questions. Again, I'll have this down in the links below, just in terms of a guide to be able to bring you through this process. So from that, we are basically going to high level, and again, I'll go through this in a couple minutes. We're going to go from 100 candidates down to the actual hire that we make. And that's going to be not one person, but usually 2 to 3 candidates. And the reason why we do 2 to 3 candidates versus 1 candidate is because of the way that we work. The way that we work remotely. It's a lot easier to actually test someone for 1 month, as an example, on a whole bunch of test tasks, as opposed to hiring only one person, and maybe the chance of success there is like 50 to 60%. But when we hire 2 to 3 people, our chances are usually significantly higher. We've realized doing this, when we hire one candidate, maybe we have a 60% success rate, but we'd always want to know, is it greener on the other side? If we had chosen the second place candidate as an example, would that have been better? So what we do instead is we make sure that everyone's a contractor. So in the US, that would be like a 1099. If other countries, it really just depends on the local jurisdiction. So once that person is hired, we'll usually, or those people are hired, we will go through usually between a week to maybe even a month or two of actually working with that person. And the important thing to take into consideration is we have them do the same work. So for a customer success rep, we might give 100 customers to one rep and 100 customers to another rep, and then really start to analyze that data and see who did a better job. It is a fantastic way to be able to really filter down candidates, because a lot of the times a resume and an interview can't really tell you the whole story. So this is a lot more powerful, at least in our opinion, and it's a major differentiator between how on-prem companies do it and how remote first companies do it. So after that, we usually have about 3 months from this hiring process in which we've boiled down to one candidate, or we possibly have actually needed maybe 2 to 3 people, and we might hire them all if they all meet our requirements. But realistically, after 3 months, we have a meeting with not only the manager, but we also have a meeting with people that maybe they manage the particular candidate and some of their coworkers. And we have this little meeting, which is, I like to call it the forever hold your peace meeting, which is, why should we not hire this person? Not should we hire this person, but why should we not hire this person? We've actually had about 10% of candidates that have not made it through that 3-month process. And the other part that's important here is during that process, they're usually contractors. They haven't been given all of the perks that we usually have inside of the company, like unlimited time off, the ability to go to one of our team retreats every single year, the ability to get, in some cases, equipment, those types of things. We haven't given them any of those things as of yet. So this is kind of the major stepping stone between, are they going to be in or are they going to be out? And after that, if everyone says that they are in, then they are a new person inside of the team, and we give them access to all of our back-end metrics and all of those different things inside of the company that we usually keep pretty quiet. So that's the process. I know that my ridiculous little iPad drawings were not the best, but I'm gonna now go into Breezy and we're gonna go through the entire process from beginning to end as basically an HR manager would see it, so that hopefully you get a little bit of this as well. See you in a second. Hi everybody, I'm back. So we are inside of time-doctor.breezy.hr, and this is the main portal that we use to be able to filter all of our candidates, from our pool to our particular job postings to the person that we're going to hire. And the reason why we use this platform is it's pretty easy. It integrates with a whole bunch of different things and gives us a really good way to differentiate between traffic that's coming into timedoctor.com, i.e. people that are looking to buy our software, and then candidates that are looking for a job. It's important to be able to filter those two different types of people out. So I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of kind of the culture that we're communicating inside of our posting. If you would like to just straight up steal this, no problem whatsoever. Just go to time-doctor.breezy.hr and put and basically build the same page, because we've thought about this quite a bit, and it's at least a really good starting point for your online job portal system. So come work with us at Time Doctor. We're looking for great people to join our growing team. We talk about, you'll notice here, the very first thing that we have is our vision, because for us, what we try to hire for is culture first. So before we even look at whether or not a candidate is qualified from a technical perspective, we look to find out whether or not they're qualified from a culture perspective. Do they share the same kind of weird way of working that we do? Although it's probably not weird now because the whole world is working remotely. But up until a couple months ago, it was pretty weird. Do you want to be able to work in a company that just has, 100 people located in dozens of different countries all over planet Earth? Do you have any problem with working remotely? We've had a lot of candidates that have come in that have said, like, I don't really like remote working. Well, that's probably not the person for us, because we're looking for people that are really passionate about building and scaling remote teams. So we talk about our culture here. We also have our actual page that we link to as well, which is just our careers page on timedoctor.com. Basically, what our vision and our mission is. The two co-founders, which is me and my co-founder Rob, who's the CEO of the company. When we started the company, all the different locations that we work out of, where we're actually located on planet Earth, what some of our employees are saying at Time Doctor, all of the different people that work inside of the company, what they think about it, people that have been working with us for like 10 plus years, which is actually really awesome and amazing. And then we just kind of show people, yeah, okay, this is who we are as a company. So you can really get a good idea of where we come from and what we are and what we are not, which is really important. It's important to communicate, not just getting a whole, it's important to make sure that you don't get a whole bunch of candidates that are coming in that are not aligned to your perspectives and your company. Because if you get a whole bunch of candidates and you get a whole bunch of crap in, listen, I'm telling you, HR is a full-time job. Recruitment is a full-time job. And if you're looking at 500 candidates and only 100 of them are really qualified, that means that you got to wade through 400 CVs of absolute crap to get to the 100 that are good. I'd rather have 200 candidates and 100 candidates of crap than 500 and 400 candidates of crap. So we communicate not just who we are, but who we are not, so that it's creating a very clear alignment on what we are as a company. So when we, that's not the page that I'm looking for, when we go into our actual posting here, you can see we also have a couple of customer testimonials, and then we go into our openings. And I'm just going to grab one. I actually haven't even looked at this one. Let's say I want to apply to a sales operations manager. And we first start with what the position is about and what you need to actually be great at, where you may or may not be located. It looks like this one might actually be located in North America. Just because I think we need a rep for this particular location, if I remember correctly. And then things that you must have, how to apply, about our company, and then again, connecting to our culture document. And then you just apply for the position. And you go through the entire process. Usually it takes 5 to 10 minutes to be able to go through the process from beginning to end. We usually have questions that we make sure that we're asking there. And that's the critical part whenever you're making any type of a job application, is you need to make sure that you answer those questions properly, because those are the first things that I look at as a person that wants to hire you. The reason why we don't have other platforms, or we don't accept like just an emailed CV as an example, is because we have a process like everything else. Remember the Trainual module, process documentation, super important. So I'm gonna go into that right now. So this is Breezy, and this is one of our candidate pools that we have. Actually, this is an actual position that we're hiring for. If I click the back button here, you will be able to see one of our pools. So this is our CS specialist pool, and you can see here we have 385 candidates, and we started that process on March the 8th. And the last candidate that was submitted was March 27th, I believe. And here are all the people that are connected to that particular position. But this is the actual position. And Breezy is basically just the tool that we use. I'm going to be using Breezy for this. If you don't want to use Breezy, use something else. But hey, it's the only thing that I know. So once we set up a position, then we have a bunch of different tiers that people go through. And I may or may not show you these names, because I think that might not be a good idea. But I'm going to go through the process anyways. So recruiter reviews and answers the questions, and then also looks for the salary level that we're really looking for. So as an example, I think for this position, it was probably a couple $1,000s a month as an example to start as the customer success specialist, a base plus commission structure. And the first step is the recruiter goes through this. So these are actually open positions that the recruiter is looking to approve to bring to the next part of the process. So the next part of the process is probably just confirming that salary. And again, these change dependent upon the position, but there's a general arc to everything inside of the organization. So, which I'm going to lay out for you. So salary confirmation, making sure that we're all aligned on how much you're going to get paid. And also in this stage of the process, this is where someone will actually will do that cultural alignment call. So that's either us reviewing their resume directly and doing a little bit of Googling and a little bit of like social media snooping, or it means literally doing a call with them just to kind of see who they are and whether or not they like working remotely. And basically my biggest component connected to culture is, are you someone who's going to tell me what they did or ask me what to do? That's a clear, very core differentiator for everything that we do inside of the company. We don't want people that are going to wait. We want people that are going to take action because we run a tech startup. So we look for those alignment pieces. Again, that'll be down in the document that accompanies this video. We go through salary confirmation. Then we have our first actual, like, real employee inside of the company that's not from recruitment or from HR reviewing this. So Sabby, who is our director of customer success, is reviewing all of the answers inside of the resume. So we're not actually looking at their main resume, we're just looking at the answers that they have. The next step is we look for people that are disqualified, so people that just did not answer that question to the degree to which we wanted. Then we actually, if they are interesting to us, then we have them send a video request. So we'll usually ask them a question like, can you give me an example of a very difficult customer success interaction that you had and how you dealt with it? Maybe that's something that they would say. Probably Sabby came up with something smarter than that. But then we would go out there and we would ask that question, and then we would wait for those responses. Another big important factor connected to this is how fast people respond. So if people don't respond quickly, usually that means that they don't really want this position, and we're probably not really interested in continuing on with them. That's another factor you need to take into consideration. Then after that, Sabby obviously reviews the video responses. And again, through this process, so we have 34 candidates that are disqualified. A candidate could have made it all the way to here, and then we disqualify them. So that's just the way it works. I'll click on this individual right now who I shall not name, so that we are keeping everyone quiet. Let me just see here. So I go through this particular candidate, what they're doing. I have the questions that they're asking for, and then usually we would have a reason why we would qualify or unqualify this person. So we'd go into the change state and we'd say disqualified, and we'd say what is the reason why they were disqualified. Again, all this documentation we really need because this person may be tossed back inside of the pool, and then from that we may actually hire this person in the future. So it's important to be able to make sure that you keep your pool as active as humanly possible. So once Sabby has reviewed the videos, then the recruiter actually sets an interview with Sabby. Again, all of these stages, we haven't even done an interview face-to-face with a direct manager. They've only interacted with HR recruitment. That is by design, to be able to make sure that we are able to just really focus our energy on the people that are important. Then we have Sabby interviewing that person. We also then, if Sabby thinks that they're great, then they're forwarded on to Anton, who's our director of support. Anton reviews them, and then if Anton and Sabby both like them, then they're followed on to Angela, who is the person in charge of revenue optimization inside of the company. And then she interviews them, and then we make them a trial offer. And as you can see right now, we have one person currently in that pool. So it's a really long process. I know it takes time. It is a process that has to take time. Hiring people is absolutely the most important thing that you're going to do inside of your company, and it becomes more important the larger you grow. So that's the process from top to bottom. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I'd love to be able to answer them. And I think we're gonna go back to Liam from a few weeks ago that had a much better haircut. See you in a second. Now, your homework for today, if you choose to accept it, if you are looking for talent right now, what I would suggest that you do is put in your very first job spec. So go back, check out the video that we just deployed, put together a very simple job spec. You saw the URL that we used. You can use some of our job spec examples that we have on that website, and just go ahead and put something up. Also, if you want to, post the actual job spec in the comments down below so that we can take a look at it, and or I can take a look at it and give you my 2 cents on whether or not it's good, or if there's any changes that I would theoretically make. And if you have any other questions on the legal front or on the job spec front, please post them down below and I'd be happy to answer them. See you in the next video.